buddy. Asked me if I could go riding around with him. My parents said yeah, because they trusted him. So we're riding around out in the country outside the courthouse here, and he's driving 130 mile an hour. He wrecks into a ditch and flips across the road.
130
They drag
mile
me in
an
the field
hour,
and leave me.
son of a bitch.
130 mile an hour. They wrecked, flipped, dragged me in the field and left me. A
Damn.
farm. I was lucky. A farmer was, one of his was watching his crops and, seen some crazy lights, called the cops, and here I am today. 34 years later. So,
Man, 34 years later. Now, after this, did you talk to those guys again ever after that?
no, one of them got stabbed to death here about
Jeez.
10, 15 years ago, and the other one is a youth pastor. Go figure.
Well, that's talk about
I
a
never
180.
I never got an apology, but
Right.
hey, at least he's made amends with God. That's all I can say. I mean, it'd been nice if he said, "Hey, man, I'm sorry. I've been in
No,
a wheelchair for 34 years," but
for sure. Or at least stop by and bring you some lunch or something once in a while. Shit,
yeah, and a pair of shoes to put on my feet that don't work anymore. So,
Something, right.
yeah.
So, man, 34 years. I mean, what the first? Okay, so let's just go through the first, let's say, year. I mean, once that happened, I mean, what did you have to go through? What was that like?
Well, I'm a quadriplegic, C6, C7, but luckily I was incomplete. For about the first 8 months, I could move my arms up, couldn't move them down. Didn't have no, tricep or much bicep. You know, I was in the hospital for 13 months. Didn't get better until I got home.
Okay.
Started getting movement back here and there, little sporadic, spots of feeling in my leg or, stuff like that. And I had some good friends that, pushed me around. And I remember telling them, you can push me this fucking way. And they're like, well, if you don't like it this way, then you can push yourself home.
Oh, damn.
Well, they left me about, I don't know, about maybe a mile and a half from my home. And I pushed home. And from that point on, I just pretty much got in my mind that, I'm not going to be stuck. I'm not going to be disabled and have to depend on everybody else.
Right.
So, I kind of got off my ass and got me motivated a little bit. It's the first year was probably the toughest physically. The second was mentally. I attempted suicide a couple times in my second year.
Damn.
I felt like, why me? I had it all. I played football, baseball. I love to fight. One day I wake up and there's nothing there. So,
Right.
I mean, what am I going to do about women? And how am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? I didn't
Oh,
want to do it.
1,000 things. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was all in my mind. Well, tried to commit suicide. I failed at that, thank God.
Right.
About at that point, the third year just started getting better, man. About that time I was 19, getting ready to go on 20. Been with this girl for about 8 months. We got married. Lasted a little while, but got divorced. Not because she didn't like people in wheelchairs, because I didn't like people in wheelchairs. I hated myself.
Right. Yeah. You can't have somebody love you if you don't love yourself.
Yeah, and that's the biggest lesson I've ever had to learn, man. I see a lot of people on these spinal cord injury pages like, well, they left me because I'm in a wheelchair. No, they probably left you because you act like you're in a wheelchair and you think you're handicapped. Instead of physically you are handicapped, but mentally you don't have to be.
No.
And once I got past that point, man, life was just easy. And I know people, get angry about that. Life for me has been easy. Yeah, there's been a lot of tough things, here and there. I mean, but life is easy, and it's the mental part that really that will really disable you.
Yeah.
That's
man.
my
I couldn't have said it better myself. I agree with you 100%. 100%. Yeah, I mean, for me, 100%. Like it's something like when it first happened to me, my biggest thing, like you said, I mean, you think about a million things. Your mind goes a million miles a minute, and you're like, what am I going to do? How am I going to get this? Like, how am I going to continue my life the way that I thought it was going to go? Now you gotta completely get that out of your head. I mean, you got to wipe that slate clean. And for me, what's really funny is I'd actually prayed to God 4 days before my accident to change my life. And the first thing I thought was, man, he's got a pretty funny sense of humor. But I was like, we'll see where it goes. I mean, I'm on this train now. There's nothing I can do about it. So it's either you gotta get up and try to keep moving forward, or you gotta sit back and sulk and feel bad about yourself. But we all know where that shit leads you. So
leads you nowhere.
Exactly. So let me ask you this. These are part of this question. So the other questions I had is, if you could change it right now, if you could go back right now and choose to not get in that car, you know what I'm saying, and just your whole life would be different with the knowledge that you have, would you do it, or would you just go through it all again.
It's funny that you asked that question. If you go back on if you go to my post on the spinal cord injury page, I put a big long post about this, and I got so much hate for it. I absolutely 100% would never change anything about what happened in my
Right.
life.
Right.
Like I said, at 15 years old, I'm not proud of it. I was smoking pot, drinking, robbing people, hanging around badass people. And hadn't it been for my wheelchair, I'd either be strung out on drugs right now or in prison
Right.
or, I don't know what happened. I absolutely believe that things happen in your life. Not that God put me here because God's not a cruel God. I put myself here because of the decisions I made. And there's maybe one thing I would change, and that's the person I was before I had my accident,
Right.
not the person that was after my accident. The person that needed to be changed was the one that could walk and thought he was tough and talking shit to everybody, disrespecting everybody. That person's gone, and that's been a blessing for me.
Yeah.
So
I
no, there's nothing in this world I would change.
That's awesome because I mean I've talked to a couple other people like that feel the same way, and really I mean now that where I am now in my life and my mind and my head and everything else, like I kind of wouldn't want to change either, even though I do wake up every day because I'm a T3 T4 chest down paraplegic. So like I
Right.
got a couple metal rods in my back, and every day I wake up I feel them shits. I mean it feels like I'm fucking paralyzed.
Right.
And I hate it, but once I get the pills in me and I start to move and stay hydrated and like I got a goal and I'm doing something that day, as long as you stay motivated and you keep doing stuff, I mean it's a day by day thing. Like my grandpa always told me, one day at a time and you'll be just fine. So
Yeah, and that's the mentality to have. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's days I get up, man, and I'll get teary eyed about either pain in my legs or something that I really wanted to do with a friend that I couldn't do because I'm in a wheelchair. But that passes, and
right,
it's. I'd say if I sat here and said I don't have no problems, I'm a liar. But I can stand a little bit. I mean, I got pretty good core muscle. My right hand sucks. I've had two surgeries on my left hand, had to have donor bone and tissue put in my hand. I've had cubicle tunnel surgery on my left elbow, my right elbow. I mean, I've had multiple surgeries, to repair nerve damage, and it's a daily basis. But the main thing is you've got to get up and you've got to move around. I mean, I talked to a lot of people on this injury page that we're both on, and I posted one day. I said, and this was no disrespect to anybody. I had my wreck in 1988, and I simply posted, "Boy, I'm not like any of you guys on here. I mean, with the what you guys have now and what I had when I had my accident. Well, I had people really threatening me. Well, you think you're better than everybody, but the post simply what I meant is, I think the reason that I was a little more advanced than a lot of the people that are now that are in a spinal cord, we didn't have all the transfer boards and we didn't have all these FES bicycles and all that. Man, every therapy that we did was on my own.
right.
Whether it was just pushing, a block or lifting up a gallon milk jug. Yeah, we had weights back then, but back then my hands didn't work very well.
You had the
I
hood
mean, now
weights.
you
I
get
remember
on,
using those. The hood weights.
yeah, yeah. Well, like I
Yep.
said, you look at the stuff now, man. FES bike, you got, all these, standing frames and all that stuff. We didn't have that stuff when I was a kid. When I had my accident.
Right.
And it really
Well, if you
upset me
think
because I
about it,
wasn't
35 years ago when you had your accident, I mean, that was at the forefront. Today, they still don't know shit about spinal cord injuries.
right.
They're starting to learn more and more and more, and they're starting to get more advanced, but they're far off from what they could have. Just by the way, for some reason, I don't know why, but like it says we're live, but we haven't cut off or anything, but just in case, I'm recording this. So my fiance doesn't see us live, but we're still going to record this, and then I'm going to probably take it and put it out. So
All right.
anyway, back to what you were saying. Go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Well, like I said, I got a bunch of hate for that. I didn't mean any disrespect to anybody else. I was just simply saying that if I wanted to do something back 34 years ago, it was a hell of a lot more physically challenging than a lot of these spinal cord people have today, as
Right.
far as the equipment and the resources that I had. So, I mean, it was, if I wanted to go to my buddy's house, I had to get out of my chair and climb up steps.
Yeah,
I didn't
see, I couldn't
have,
do all that. I mean, if I didn't have a choice, I would. But, like today, I wouldn't be able to do all that. I mean, I'm pretty good at pushing myself up and doing that stuff. But I don't
Right.
even get on the floor anymore. They made me get on the floor in therapy, and I fucking hated it. I didn't want to do that again. I'm like, I don't want to do this. I don't like what.
Yeah.
What am I gonna do? Like the only reason I'm gonna have to do this is if I fall. So I'm gonna make sure
Right.
I don't fucking fall, and I'm gonna learn how
Yeah.
to do my own thing. You know, I mean, luckily
Right.
they gave me a power wheelchair too. So where I live now, I got a little bit of property and land. Like on a push wheelchair, like a manual, I couldn't imagine coming up and doing all this shit in grass and all the stones I got to go through. It could be done, but man,
Right.
that's another thing too. Did you ever hear the thing? Don't blow out your shoulders because you need your shoulders, right?
I've already done that.
See, that's what, and I was gonna say, like for 30, what did you say, 34, 35 years,
34 years.
34 years, yeah. I mean, shit, you're gonna get some wear and tear on them boys.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I jump on four wheelers, man. The last house me and my wife just moved out of, we had upstairs, no bathroom downstairs, so I'm climbing up down the stairs 2 or 3 times a day to use the bathroom. I mean, I've never done anything the typical way that a person in a wheelchair would do it. I mean, I just I figured out a way to do it. I see people now using transfer boards. That was never a thing when when I had my accident.
Yeah, I got two of them. I got one for inside, and one for the car.
I've never used one. Never had to use one. Don't even know how to use one.
Nice.
I just see that's the difference in the therapy now. I mean, not saying that it's a good or bad thing. It'd been much easier for me to learn back then. However, as a quad, I think if I was using, the equipment they have today, that I wouldn't have been as strong and had as good as outcome as I have today.
Right.
As far as strength in my arms, because you were just talking about going through your yard. Well, imagine in 1988 when they bring your wheelchair, it's still a fold up wheelchair that weighed around 50, 60 pounds.
Oh hell no.
You know, so
Yeah,
I'm
fuck
saying
all
there
that.
wasn't a whole lot of lightweight chairs out there at that point. So any pushing you did, you know how weak your arms get after you have that accident.
Oh yeah.
Any pushing you did, man, really just, I mean, it took everything I had to keep going, but I started chasing them women. I started noticing, these girls are like, I don't see you in a wheelchair. So that motivated me. And then I got buddies that's like, man, if you want something, do it yourself.
Right.
I'm not getting that for you. Get your ass up and do it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So once I started doing that shit, man, I mean, I had some big ass huge arms and a neck. Now I first got my first uh, what do you call them, recumbent bicycle, I guess, the 3-wheel bicycles in 1992.
Oh, was that like the hand with the hand
Right.
ones? Okay.
Yeah, I rode that thing anywhere from 45 to 60 miles a day, and that's not a joke.
Holy shit.
I mean, like I said,
So you must got some fucking. You must be, stacked up,
I mean,
beefcaked out.
I used to be. I'm still fit, but man, like I said, I've got a tear in my left rotator cuff, top and bottom, from 2007, and I got a tear on the top and bottom of my right rotator cuff from 2013. I won't get to surgeries. I've never had any. I've just kind of rehabbed it myself. Still got great range of motion, still good strength. I mean, I know how far to push it, but
Right.
the shoulders is the main thing that, man, you blow them out, you're done.
Well, see, and
I
that's
mean,
where I had conflict is because everybody that was in because I went to Mary Free Bed, which is a spot here in Michigan. It's like a really good hospital that can help people like that with spinal cord injuries and brain injuries.
right,
They were super against me getting a power chair and using a power chair all the time. Because they're like, you got to work out, you got to keep working out, you got to keep moving your arms. And I'm like, okay, but listen, what if I still work out my arms, but I just use a power chair to move around places and get in my van and do things? I'm like, well, power chairs are for people that can't move their arms, but you can. And I'm thinking, I talked to my doctor, and my doctor said, well, the power chair is going to help you save your shoulders for the long run. So I think it's smarter to get the power chair. So in my head, I'm like, okay, well, I got both, whatever. But like, I use my power chair primarily because I can drive it right in my van, click in and go.
right.
But not everybody's got that, that can do that. I was injured in an auto accident myself also, and luckily I had full coverage on one of our vehicles, which covered me in order to get me all the equipment that I have. Like you said, like I have a standing machine. I don't use near enough as I should. The power chair, the van I got. I mean, I got so much shit. I can't even tell you. I mean, it's crazy. And then I don't know. It's crazy to see somebody who's been injured for that long that's gotten by with none of that shit. Like, didn't need it, didn't know how to use it, just said fuck it.
I just recently, my stepdaughter's in the other room. I just recently got a shower chair for the first time. I've been climbing in and out of the bottom of the tub, and my last house, the tub was real small. We just moved out of, and the tub was real small, so I couldn't get in it like I could get in the rest of my tub. So I finally broke down and got me a used shower chair I found in somebody's trash, and I've been using it ever since.
Oh,
I mean,
damn.
that right there was like, wow, why haven't I been doing this for the last 25 years?
Right.
I got me this old hover around here. I paid $200 for it online.
Oh, there you go.
That's my little work chair. For things that I do a lot of landscaping and stuff like that. Those that's a little power chair there. I mean, it's people laugh at it because it's hover around, supposed to be for the elderly, man. But I tell you, it's a little beast.
Right.
It does exactly what I need it to do. I don't. I'm sure you probably have hand controls in your vehicle.
Yeah. Yep.
I
I got
do.
the rock push down and then push forward to stop, push down to go.
For 34 years, I've been driving with two canes with electrical tape taped to my gas and my brake, and that's how I've driven everything I've had.
That is
You know,
crazy. I couldn't think
you ever
about
see
it.
those people? I don't know if they do in Michigan. People come to your house door to door to sell those cases of meat.
Yep. Yep.
I've done that for 3.5 years. Drove a 10,000 pound meat truck with those sticks, and if I took you out to my car right now, that's all I drive with. I've never went out and spent money on all this fancy stuff. I figured it out and made it
I
myself,
was
and
gonna say you could
you
just
know,
probably make something yourself out of
yeah,
because I mean if you see the things on Amazon and all that shit, you got cheap ones you can get for $138 that are just
right,
it's a push thing for the brake and then this for the gas or this for the gas
right.
and this for the brake or whatever. You could just simply make something like that out of some wood. I'm guessing. I'm not that handy, but hell yeah, man. I mean that's cool though to know that I knew there was people out there that
Eventually,
had to deal with it, but
you know, well, the wreck that I was in, I should have been a millionaire, but because I felt that it was wrong to prosecute the dealer that they stole the car from for leaving the keys in it.
right.
I felt it wasn't his fault, so I didn't get any money. My parents didn't get any money. They had to foot the bill for my insurance or for
Damn.
my hospital and for everything I had. So, we just kind of everybody laughs because I'm kind of a hillbilly. I don't wear I don't own a pair of jeans. I wear shoes maybe 4 times a year, and like I said, I live in Ohio. I wear shorts year round.
Oh
I don't.
man.
I just live as simple as I can. We can't take money with us. Not that I don't make good money.
Right.
Here and there. I flip cars for a living, but I'm just me, and I've learned to live my life happy. And people look at me. Well, how can you smile after everything you've been through? Well, I don't smile all the time. But when I smile, it's a real smile.
Right.
I'm blessed. I mean, that's all there's to it. I'm blessed.
Right.
With the
For
good
sure.
days and the bad days, I'm still here and I'm blessed. I got beautiful children. I'm getting a divorce right now, but I still love my wife. I mean, it's like I'm here, man, and I'm not going anywhere. And until the Lord takes my breath. I mean, and
Right.
whether I got to push myself with my thumb or an elbow, I'm still going to get where I got to go and do what I got to do, no matter how much I lose or gain.
Right.
I mean, and I see this on that spinal cord injury page a lot. And when I comment, I kind of feel bad because it's not that I don't have sympathy, because I've been there and I know how they feel, but it's like, man, if you could just get over that I'm disabled shit.
Right.
I mean, then that's as soon as I got over that, man, it was like
That's half the battle.
a
Mental.
click. Yeah, it was like a flip switch, and I was like, damn, it's a little tougher than walking, but it's the same concept of life. You
Right.
live, you laugh, you love, you lose. I mean, you're up, you're down. It's the same thing as if somebody was walking.
You can't take any
I
day for
mean,
granted too, though. You got to think. You know what I'm saying? Every day that you're here, you got to. That's kind of what I got from it too. Is like, man, every day is not promised. You don't know what the hell's gonna happen.
exactly. It took a lot of years to get that way. I did a lot of drinking, a lot of smoking, and I mean, it's like now I just sit back and relax, and I look back, and I'm like, I made it. I don't
Right.
have to do no more hard lifting and hard work. And I was a welder for 10 years at a place called Sugar Creek Packing in Ohio. It's a bacon plant. I welded out there, and I burned my eyes up, tore my shoulders up, my wrists up. Carrying this big ass heavy metal things I had to weld, and it's just not worth it, man. I kind of slowed my life down, and it's been amazing, man. I mean, like I said, I have my bad days. Don't get me wrong. There's not every day I'm
Oh, we
happy.
all do. Yeah. Fuck yeah.
You know, 6 out of 7 days I'm good. But I have that one day I'll get up and I'll watch TV and something just make me burst into tears.
Right.
So I mean it's just like you got to do what you got to do. You know, I've been to restaurants and I've shit my pants. Man, I laugh about it. I go home and
Yeah.
then I'll
Been there, done
cry.
that.
And then I'll cry for a minute. But that was years ago. Now it don't bother me. And the people that are around me, if it happens, it doesn't bother them.
Right.
So I mean, it's just it's what you can get used to in your life and how well you can take humility. Because being in a wheelchair, man, it's a tough thing to do
It puts you in your
sometimes.
place real quick, don't it?
It definitely
It
does,
lets you
man. I
know how
mean, it'll
small
give you
you
a
are.
good slap.
Yep.
So I mean, like I said,
Puts you right back down
with
to
my
earth.
I met a guy on Facebook. He bought my last bike off of me last year, and I don't know. His name is Michael. You know, boy's an inspiration, man. I'm watching him rock climb. He's training dogs, and I mean, he's a paraplegic, and reminds me
Mm-hmm.
of me when I was young, man. And I'm looking at some of these people now, man, and it's a lot different than when I grew up. From the shit that I had to do, and
Right.
I mean, just watching this kid's like, gives me hope because, man, like I said, I don't know anybody in wheelchairs, but the people I talk to on the spinal cord injury page, man, they are amazing. I've been on there upset,
Oh yeah, yeah,
like I want to end it all, man, and they're like, oh my, in my messages, sending me private messages, hooking me up. I mean, it's like,
yeah.
so I
No,
mean,
it's
this
definitely a
is
group
what,
that I love. Clint's one of the guys I think that runs that page, and he sent me my sticker. I remember when my first year. I mean, it was my first 2 months.
right,
I came home, and I remember getting in and seeing that. But you're right, though. I mean, I think that our jobs, or even like just today, trying to get, even though for some reason I don't know why it's not going live. Thank God we're recording, but if we can get this out to people, some kid that just got injured, is gonna see this on YouTube or whatever and be like, damn, he could do it. He never even had anything, So like, why can't I
right,
do? And maybe just to spread a little bit of what I like to call hopium. You know what I'm saying? You got to
yeah,
spread the
we all need
hopium.
that.
Yep. So let me ask you just a couple more questions here.
All right.
What is your biggest pet peeve of being in a wheelchair? Like what other people do? Like what do you not like?
Well, it's not so much what people do. It's like, I'll say like, okay, I'm gonna go for a walk, and they're like, you're going for a walk. It doesn't matter
Oh
whether
shit, I
you
say that
walk,
too.
roll, or whatever. I'm just like, I'm gonna go for a walk, and
Mm-hmm.
everybody's got to make a comment like, you're gonna go for a walk. I'm just like, yeah, motherfucker, I'm gonna go for a walk. You call it
Right.
what you want to call it. I'm going for a walk. I mean, that's probably one of the biggest things.
I laugh
Well,
at that shit all the time.
maybe the ignorance, maybe not ignorance, maybe lack of knowledge of people in wheelchairs. For some reason, whenever somebody sees somebody in a wheelchair, they automatically can't feel their legs, or they automatically can't have sex, or you
Right.
know
They
they're on
assume.
welfare.
Yeah.
You know, I
They
mean
gotta
that's
assume it.
that's probably the biggest aggravating one right there for me. You know,
Yep. Yep. I feel you.
so
For me, it's always man, it's the stupid fucking. You got a license for that thing? Or oh
yeah,
man, slow down, or don't get a speeding ticket, or fucking
oh yeah, I get that one too.
man.
I'm like,
I love it when I was at the casino and I had a beer the other day. It was like a couple weeks back, and this guy's like, "You're drinking and driving?"
yeah,
And I'm like, "Yeah, that's a good one, guy. Good job."
yeah. Well, you know what? Another one really bothers me too is like, okay, I've been to bars before. For example, this last girl, one of the girlfriends I had, we broke up, but we were still real close, and she had this new boyfriend, and he's always like, "Well, I took your girlfriend. I took your girlfriend. I took your girlfriend." Yet the whole time she kept calling me, calling me, calling me, calling me, want me back.
Hmm.
Well, I kept listening to him, in a small town. I mean, so I kept listening to him, listening to him, listening to him. And then one day I said, "You just mags a half a man could take your woman if I really wanted to."
Damn.
You know, it's
Right.
it's people automatically assume that you're going to be some little punk that's not going to stand up for yourself and not going to snap back when somebody because they can walk think that they're going to try to so-called put you in your place. And
Right.
I'm really not one of them kind of people, man. You probably get slapped long before you realize that you even said anything stupid. And I mean that's people are ignorant, but I think it's not something that they can help. I just think it's something that's
Well, they haven't been
parents
taught,
didn't
like you
do right.
said. Yeah, yeah. It's lack of education. I think is the biggest aspect of that situation for different people, and just some people are assholes, man. Let's just face it. Some people are just dicks.
Yeah, yeah, you got that right.
But so the next question I got, next to last, is what is something that you wish that you could do that you used to be like with legs? You know what I'm saying, that you used to be able to could do
Right.
that now you can't. What would that be? That one thing.
Honestly, the only thing I've ever wanted to do probably break me into tears, but you know, my mother was so hurt by me being in a chair that in 1999 she had a, I had my wreck in '88. 1999 she had a heart transplant,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the biggest things is like, my mom and dad got remarried, and to being able to stand up beside my mom and dance with her,
Right.
you know,
Just give her a proper hug, maybe.
right.
I'm with you there. The proper hug thing really kills me a lot when you got to side hug people and you can't like stand up and give them a good proper, stand right next to
I
them.
think that was probably the biggest thing that that still to this day that just like it'll break me. I don't know. Like I said, I've got pictures of me standing up beside my mom with a walker.
Right.
They're on my profile page, but that's one of the biggest things that I wish I could have ever done.
Right. Your video's going kind of in and out there, but I can still hear you good. So the last question that I got for you, Larry, is what's one piece of advice that you would give to a newly injured individual?
Oh boy, that's there's so many. I think my biggest thing of advice would be, look at yourself in the mirror and just tell yourself that it's going to be okay. No matter what, it's going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to do things different. You're going to look different than other people. There's going to be things that you're going to have to get used to, but man, it's going to be okay. I think that's, if I'd have done that, accepted myself in the beginning, man, I might not have struggled the first couple of 2-3 years. It was, I was worried about how am I going to live? Is a woman going to want me? Or am I going to have kids?
Right.
But just look yourself in the mirror and say it's going to be okay. Because man, coming from 34 years, it's been okay, man. It's been an amazing life. I've had my ups and downs, but it's going to be okay. And
Right.
that's if I had a crowd of 5,000 people, that's probably the first thing I said. Of newly injured people, because you're so scared.
Mm-hmm.
When you first had your wreck. I had to learn how to feed myself again. Luckily I had control of my bowels and my bladder. Luckily. A lot
Yeah,
of
that's
people
one thing
don't.
I wish I could have. Yeah, I don't have that. I mean, I
I
my
was
body
lucky.
tells me when I gotta go, sort of, but like it's not.
Right.
I can't control it. So I mean, I totally get you there.
You know.
And I feel you with that. I mean, it's something like if I ever had to say something like if I had to do it, I would just say, listen, you're gonna go through some shit in the next year. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna
Right.
take you a good year or so, maybe two, to get kind of acclimated. But give it 2 years time, 3 years time, and you're gonna be like, damn, I can't believe where I'm at now. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you're gonna have a whole different outlook on life. And it's something. I mean, for me, it did. It kind of did change my life. I'll be honest with you. I mean, it's crazy, but I'll tell you what. We're gonna keep you on the list, Larry. We appreciate you coming through, and by we, I mean me and everybody else who makes this thing possible. All the viewers that could possibly watch us, even though it says we're going live. I'm not sure if we are. Stay with me on the line. I'm gonna keep you here. I'm gonna go ahead and close this out, and then we'll go ahead and talk a little bit more. All right, everybody. So thanks for watching Wheelchair Wednesday. Tune in. Maybe next week I'll have somebody new. Who knows what's going to happen. Appreciate it, and see you later.